yesterday afternoon. It was a great relief to go downstairs and take some time out, but of course that didn't happen. And I immediately walked into a conversation with Jackie Koch and Anne Yawich, which was wonderful because these are two people that I knew very well a very long time ago, and it was great to connect with them. But I had to cut the conversation very short because very soon into the conversation, Jackie just flipped off this thing. She said, "No jobs on a dead planet."
It's not original.
I know it's not original, but I hadn't heard it. I'm not claiming originality to it, but it really struck me really hard. So, I mean, I'm a comic artist, I'm very immersed in graphic literature, so I do know all about The Walking Dead, about this apocalyptic vision which has gripped America through this incredibly popular TV series that's been going on a long time, which is basically about this stuff, but it's metaphorical. So I quickly came upstairs and started working on this picture, and it's not very difficult, having, in the environments that we exist, to actually find the material to put in the picture. I was walking down, we were driving along in the car, and I saw a guy pulling a cart full of junk, and there's a little guy there also pulling a cart. You've got a guy there who looks positively skeletal, holding a begging bowl, which is a sort of an icon that it's a stereotypical emblem that cartoonists always use to depict poverty. I was quite interested in this couple here, because they're obviously, not as well off as they used to be, but they're still better off than everybody else. This woman's clutching her purse. And then over here, these people long ago ceased to have an income. The buildings that they live in long ago ceased to have any, services. The environment is completely degraded. The trees are all burnt down. It looks radioactive. It's like the apocalyptic future that we're so familiar with from the popular fiction. But it comes out of this real conversation that we've been having,
Yeah, we've talked about this, The only version that I've changed, because this I remember we were articulating it about 5 years ago. I spoke at the International Trade Union Congress in Berlin, and it was a major shift of the union movement globally to the understanding that it's useless. The slogan of "No jobs on a dead planet" was what turned the debate, which captured the debate. So, how can we continue an economic trajectory that eventually kills our children? The commandment of humanity is that we don't kill our children. So, it was an important and powerful symbolism of that change. And one saw then after those the climate marches that were organized had, I would say hundreds of thousands and millions of workers in them. And for the first time, we had what we call the Red-Green Alliance, environmental movements linking up with trade unions. So that was a big transition that took place there. And so, yes, I think this is not the future, this is the present. In many parts of the world where I've been dealing with the challenges of hunger and malnutrition, this is what happens, where mothers have to make a choice about which child will get food and which child won't get food. That's how basic it is. That's how far we've lost our humanity. So again, it comes back to the question is, what causes that? What drives greed? What drives power? And it is the loss of these ethics, this morality, this human values. And when does that happen? Is when we forget who we are. And so I think that this this is the most powerful image of what we have to change within ourselves, because all change starts within. And once you know who you are, what Madiba called the journey, a good leader is one with a good head and a good heart and a forgiving spirit. So until we understand the individual commitments we have to make, we cannot make a collective commitment to where we want to go. And so I would really urge that in the conversations that we're having, it's not about graphs and log frames and wonderful theses. Just a simple question we have to ask. What is the right thing I need to do now? And whether it's within your house or your church or your community or your trade union or your business, always be able to stand up there and say, in what I have to do now, am I doing the right thing for the generations that will come after me? And if you can look at yourself in the mirror and answer that question, then we will avoid this catastrophic scenario. So I do not think that in debate about anything we want to change, that we can avoid this question. And that's why in the South African Council of Churches process, we are dealing with what is called healing and reconciliation. That actually we remain a society that is still traumatized by our past. That those fault lines of ethnicity, of gender violence, of youth violence, of just violence, of low self-worth, of consumerism, is a wound. It's a wound that is festering, and every time there's an incident that makes the headlines, there's an explosion of anger. And so we fall back on the past. And I feel that we are drifting more and more back to those old polarized fault lines that we had in the past. And so we've got to heal within and then take that healing into how we deal with the issue of land. How do we deal with the issue of hunger? How do we deal with the issue of employment? And that's where you get a common ground. That whether you're the CEO of AngloGold, or you're the trade union leader of NUMSA, or you're the unemployed youth that sits in those squatter camps around them, that we have a shared interest, that no one is left behind. And I think that's what we're trying to capture. But we're leaving people behind, increasingly more and more people behind, then that is an apocalypse. We will burn, and this country will burn again. And that's our historic duty now, when we leave this room. It's not about who's the cleverest, who's the most militant, who makes the best speech, who writes the best article. It's about, can we just be human and understand our obligations, our rights and our responsibilities?
Okay, so let's cheer.